so today we're going to be reading another Patricia Polacco book. So about I think an hour ago, I filmed a video showing you guys a bunch of secret spots in Brookhaven. If you haven't checked out that video, go check out that video after you're done watching this video. And please like and subscribe to my channel. That would show love and support to my channel and help new people find the channel. We love your support. Like and sub for more videos, and make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notifications when I post new videos. Make sure you do all that. If you do like, subscribe, and turn notifications, if you do all those three things, you are supporting the channel so much. Thank you for supporting the channel. Let's get started with today's video. Today we're going to be reading The Lemonade Club by Patricia Polacco. This is another book that we're reading. I've done Run Redhead Older Brother. I've done The Junkyard Wonders. I did The Graves Family yesterday. I did Thank You, Mr. Fokker. I've done so many Patricia Polacco books. So this is going to be another one. So we're going to get started. Let's get started, guys. Let's get started. Traci and Marilyn were best friends. They were inseparable at school and almost always went to each other's houses after school. Both of them were in Mrs. Whichleman's 5th grade class. How they loved Mrs. Whichelman. Everyone in class did. Mrs. Whichelman made the classroom seem almost like home. She put a lamp on her desk, and she framed almost everyone's drawings and hung them on the walls. She had a rug right up in the front of the room next to her desk. When she read to her class from the big old rocking chair, and there was a class guinea pig, Pinky, who squeaked whenever anyone walked by him. So Mrs. Whichelman has a class guinea pig named Pinky, and she squeaks when everyone walks by him. What everyone liked the most about Mrs. Whichelman is that she made every kid in the classroom believe that he or she could be anything they wanted to be. If you dream it, you can be it. Marilyn wanted to be a paintist. She took lessons every week and had a grand piano in her living room. Traci loved to hear her practice. Traci didn't know that she wanted to be really. She did know that it made her feel warm inside whenever she was helping someone. So look, Marilyn wants to practice the piano. Almost every day, just as the last bell was about to ring, Mrs. Whichelman would point to a basket of fresh lemons that she always kept in her desk and say, "If life lands you a lemon or two today, and you all know about our sour lemons are," everyone would make a face. Just add water and sugar, and what do you have? Then she'd pause, and the whole class would call out, "Lemonade." Traci and Marilyn stayed after school one afternoon to help Mrs. Whichelman put up the career day posters. Mrs. Whichelman pinned up a picture of a doctor. "Once I thought I'd be a doctor. Why, I even completed my pyramid courses. but I discovered being a teacher was just as important to me. After all, doctors help your bodies grow up healthy and strong. Teachers help your minds grow wise and full of ideas, Mrs. Whichelman said thoughtfully. So she's giving me the difference. Soon after, Traci and Marilyn were walking home. They heard voices behind them. Waddle, 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 one of the older girls sneered. Fatty, fatty, 2x4 couldn't get through the classroom door, another chimed in. They're being mean. Let me finish this page. Don't listen to them, Traci said as she pulled Marilyn along a little faster. The older girls hissed and whispered mean secrets, then laughed out loud as they could. Finally, those mean girls turned down another street. I would just do about anything to be thin, Marilyn cried. Traci put her arm around Marilyn's shoulder. They didn't say much more for the rest of the way home. They're being mean. That you should never bully anyone. Like, never, ever, guys. I'm being serious. As weeks passed, school went on a usual expect. Traci noticed that Marilyn was losing weight. She was looking great. Even the mean girls didn't tease her anymore. Then one Wednesday, the girls were planting flowers in Marilyn's front garden. Marilyn collapsed in a heap on the grass. I can't breathe, she gasps. I'm so tired, I don't even think I can get up. You haven't gone on one of those awful diets, have you, Marilyn? Because it isn't good for kids to starve themselves and go on diets. That's just it, Marilyn answered. I've lost all this weight without doing anything. Traci looks worried. It just melted off, but I feel so tired, and I'm always tired, Marilyn said weakly. I'm getting your mom. Traci knew something was very wrong. So what do you think happens? My teacher read this story to me, so I know exactly what's gonna happen, but I don't want to give any spoils. You'll see what happens. You'll see why Marilyn's on the down. Marilyn didn't come back to school that day on. Traci knew why. Marilyn's mom came over one night crying and told her mom everything. Then the very next day, Mrs. Whichelman had a terrible announcement to make to the class. About Marilyn, Mrs. Whichelman started. She looked so grim that everyone in the room knew that it was something very serious. Marilyn's family has asked me to inform all of you that Marilyn has cancer. I don't know how to pronounce this word. I'm just going to move on because I don't know how to pronounce the word there. Everyone in the room gasped. Some of the kids cried. Traci just looked at the floor and fought back her own tears. Mrs. Whichelman quickly added, but there's a great deal of hope. Marilyn will all undergo a series of treatments called, I don't know how to say the word. It's CHEMOTHERAPY. This treatment will eventually kill all of the cancer cells in her body, but it will sometimes make her sick when it is fighting the cancer. So Marilyn is going to have to get a treatment for her cancer. Yeah, we're just going to move on. The whole class just sat and stared for a time. Is she ever coming back to school? Danny Bridges called out. Yes, in a few weeks she'll return, but I warn you, she will look quite different. The treatment will make her lose all of her hair. She will probably wear a wig or a scarf, but she won't have any hair. Miss Whichelman said softly, and there may be times when she'll feel sick or very tired. Mrs. Whichelman suddenly lost all of the color in her face and quickly sat down. But Mrs. Whichelman, people die when they get cancer, don't they? One of the children blurted out. Mrs. Whichelman started out the window for a moment, then collected herself. There's no doubt that some do not survive, but our Marilyn most currently will. But she'll need all of us to help her through this. Traci started at a basket of lemons and thought to herself that no matter how much sugar was added, there wasn't going to be lemonade this time. So, we're kind of talking about Marilyn's cancer. As days passed, Traci and Mrs. Whichelman were almost permanent fixtures at Marilyn's house. One day, shortly after her coma began, Traci walked in while Marilyn was brushing her hair. She was starting at her hairbrush. She was full of strains and clumps of her beautiful hair. My hair is falling out, Marilyn cried as she pulled the hair from the brush and tried to put it back on her head. I even made a wish on a star last night that I wouldn't lose my hair, Marilyn sobbed. From that day on, some days were good and some weren't for Marilyn. Aww. Look how sad she looks. She has cancer. I know. It's really hard. One day, Mrs. Whichelman came for a visit. Traci was already there. This is one of Marilyn's not-so-good days. She had just came from the hospital, and her arms were bruised from all the pokes she got that day. She was so weak, she could hardly sit up in bed. Nothing Traci and Miss Whichelman did seem to cheer her up. Look, Marilyn, Mrs. Whichelman brought you a CD for a piano concerto to listen to. Moscar, your favorite composer. Music? I don't care about music. I'm never going to be able to play piano again with these sore arms. I'm too sick of doctors and hospitals and needles. Oh, Marilyn, please smile. Smile just for me. Traci begged. Marilyn cried even more. Smile? How could I smile? I feel so sick. No one knows how bad I feel. No one. Then she buried her head in the pillow. Aww. This is really hard for Marilyn. If you were in Marilyn's situation, you would probably feel the same way. Think about that. If you were in Marilyn's situation, how would you feel? Mrs. Whichelman had Marilyn in her arms. Oh, sweetie pie, I think I do. I think I know exactly how you feel, Mrs. Whichelman said softly. Then, Marilyn, you just have to get well so you can come to my wedding. Mrs. Whichelman beamed. Your wedding, Marilyn and Traci both called out. When do you get engaged? And to who? Marilyn smiled boredly for the first time in weeks. His name is Warren. And girls, this will have to be our secret for a while. but I want you both to be there. I want you both in yellow dresses, lemon yellow, as bright as sunshine. We're going to make lemonade out of sour, bitter, old lemons. Aren't we? Mrs. Whichelman whispered. But what if I'm still bald? What then? Marilyn asked. What? Well, so what? What if you are? You'll still be one of the most beautiful girls there, Mrs. Whichelman pursued her. So Mrs. Whichelman is going to try to make her feel better. It was Monday morning. Mrs. Whichelman and Traci and the whole class had a huge surprise for Marilyn to return to school. It had been planned that Marilyn to be brought to class just after the starting bell so the kids could get her surprise ready. As Marilyn walked down the hall, she was gripping her mother's hand. She had her best scarf. Traci opened the door and greeted her. The whole class stood up. They were all wearing funny hats. As Marilyn entered, everyone cheered and clapped. There was a big sheet cake on Mrs. Whichelman's desk. Traci took Marilyn's hands. Welcome back, Marilyn, she called out. Then she pulled off her funny hat. Everyone in the class did. So everyone shaved their hair just for Marilyn, so that she wouldn't feel left out. Everyone was bald. They had all shaved their heads. Marilyn's mother caught her breath and clapped her hand over her mouth. Marilyn walked up and down each side, looking intently into the face of each of her classmates. When she passed the last desk, she lowered her eyes and slowly pulled off her own scarf and had it in her hands. She felt a warm hand softly her hairless head. It was Miss Whichelman. Then everyone gasped. Look! Mrs. Whichelman slowly pulled off her own brightly colored scarf. She too had no hair. Then there was a loud cheer. The music turned on, ice cream and cake dished out, and the celebration began. But Mrs. Whichelman seemed distracted. She hasn't seemed as cheerful as usual. I wonder what's wrong with this Whichelman. What do you think? With each treatment, the doctor said Marilyn's cancer was disappearing. Marilyn finally completed the last round of chemo. Her hair started growing back right away. It was fuzzy and orange at first, but soon it looked just like it had before. Just something was calling me a second. It was growing back right away. It was fuzzy and orange at first, but soon it looked like just as it had before, except it was curly and shorter. She and Traci met after school under the shady elm with Mrs. Whichelman every week. They had became very close. They called. They were very close. Very close. They called themselves the Lemonade Club. Mrs. Whichelman read poems, then talked about everything. And of course, they loved hearing about plans for Mrs. Whichelman's wedding. Soon the entire class returned to a normal routine. Everyone's hair was growing back, but one day, Grandma called out, "Hey, Mrs. Whichelman, how come you're still wearing your scarf? Aren't you, ain't you got no hair under there?" Although Mrs. Whichelman knew that he was kidding, she didn't laugh. She tugged at her scarf and looked out the window. Something seemed wrong. Traci passed a note to Mrs. Whichelman that read, "Emergency meeting of the Lemonade Club today after school under the lamp." So they're going to have a club meeting. Later that day, Traci and Marilyn sat under the shade of the tree. It was Marilyn who spoke up. You have it too, don't you, Mrs. Whichelman? For real. That's why you said you knew exactly how I felt." Mrs. Whichelman couldn't seem to speak. Then, when she finally did, her eyes filled with tears. "I have breast cancer, girls," she said almost in a whisper. "So you're going to fight this, aren't you?" Marilyn screamed. "Yes, I'm almost finished with chemo," Mrs. Whichelman said as her voice turned off. "Well, get rid of it?" Cheryl asked. "No, I'll have to have surgery eventually," Mrs. Whichelman answered. "Surgery? I didn't have surgery," Marilyn asked. "You had cancer in a very different way than I do. So you're gonna be a fat-chested like us, right?" Taylor chirped. "Way to go, Mrs. Whichelman," she added, giving a thumbs up. "Fashion models are fat-chested, and they are considered the most beautiful woman on earth." Marilyn chimed in. "Except for brides," said Traci. Then they all laughed. Mrs. Whichelman seemed deep in thought. "I didn't know what I would do without you two," Mrs. Whichelman sighed as she laid back on the grass and looked at the clouds. "Both of you have taught me so much and affected my life. Because of you, I have thought again about being a doctor. I applied to Stanford Medical School. I wanted to help children just like you, Marilyn. But since I started the treatments, I think I have lost my courage." Mrs. Whichelman's voice drifted off. "Hey, Marilyn," bellowed, You aren't going to let something like cancer stomp your dreams, aren't you? Are you? You're always treating us to keep our dreams, no matter what," Traci added. "If you can't dream it, you can be it," the three of them said together. It was an especially sunny day. People were gathering in the church, even though they had been 5 years since they had been Mrs. Whichelman's students. Almost the whole class from then was sitting together. The music was playing softly. It was one of the Mrs. Whichelman's favorite hymns. The flowers were so beautiful, everyone was thinking about Miss Whichelman. Suddenly, the congregation sprang on to its feet. The music boomed, and Joe's trumpet voluntary. And these were Traci and Marilyn. They beamed as they marched down the aisle and to join the room at the front of the church. Then everyone turned and looked at Miss Whichelman. Appeared. Traci and Marilyn were right. She was a beautiful bride. She glowed as she floated like a cloud down the aisles. Dr. Whichelman became the wife of Dr. Moonfish on this glorious day, and they were all there together to celebrate a sweet lemonade indeed. Ow. Okay. That is the end of the story. Here are some pictures. Alright. That is the end of the story, guys. Bye, everyone. I hope you